back to the Corporate Sister TV. I'm Solange Lopes and I'm the founder of the Corporate Sister website and brand. In today's video, I'm discussing 3 simple tips to cope with burnout as a working mom. If you're a working mom, you know it's no easy feat. If you're a working mom who's been going through the pandemic and who's surviving in the aftermath of the pandemic, you know it's definitely no walk in the park. Even more than that, you may realize that not only is it not an easy feat to be a working mom, especially in the current modern times we're living in, but that it is actually creating some symptoms of burnout in your life. And like so many of us, you may not be willing or even able to acknowledge that what you may be going through as a working mom is a little more than temporary tiredness or a passing headache, but that instead you may be showing some signs of serious burnout, signs which may include physical and mental exhaustion, poor sleeping habits, lack of rest even when you sleep quite a bit, depersonalization or a sense of feeling detached from things and people, or feeling cynical, and so many other signs. The big problem here is very often as working moms, we are unwilling to take off our superhero capes and admit that there is indeed a problem, at least not until it is too late. There is a big myth surrounding the strength of working mothers and the ability of working mothers to do it all and achieve it all, that we may hesitate to admit that even if we can do it all, 1, we may not be willing to do it all, and 2, there's a high price to pay that may be slowly eating at our health and our sanity. So if you've been experiencing some symptoms that are close to burnout, which is actually recognized as a disease by the World Health Organization, here are 3 tips that may help you cope. The first one is to acknowledge the problem. And this is actually harder than it sounds. Again, as working moms, it's so challenging for us to admit that there is a problem, that something is going on with us, and that we may not be able to carry out all of the gazillion activities we carry out on a day-to-day basis. However, it may be very necessary to have a serious talk with ourselves first and recognize that there is indeed a problem. If you've been experiencing some symptoms of burnout, the first most important step is to acknowledge it and to recognize that it is not a sign of weakness, nor does it mean that there is something wrong or missing with you, but that it may be a sign that you have been doing quite a bit and that it may be time to rest and find some solutions to cope with your burnout. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to seek help. A big reason why many, if not most, working moms experience burnout is because they have to do so much on their own, even within a couple or a partnership, and even within a family village at times. We tend to handle so many of the responsibilities on the home front, on the work front, on the friendship front, on the family front, that it can be quite easy to get overwhelmed, even though we may not want to admit to it. So seeking help can be as simple as enlisting the assistance of your partner or the assistance of your friend or the assistance of the actual village that's around you, and relinquish the notion that you have to do it all on your own. And also release the idea that if you get some help, you're not enough. Seeking help can also mean seeking professional help in the form of therapy or other forms of mental health that may help you cope more on a mental and spiritual level as well. For some of us, it may also mean hiring some help. Things as simple as hiring some help to clean the house or hiring some childcare help and assistance to relieve a little bit of the pressure that we experience day in and day out and take a bit out of our plate so we can take better care of ourselves. That's tip number 2. And last but not least, tip number 3 is to set some healthy boundaries for ourselves. What burnout indicates too is that we've gone too much, too deep, and too far without respecting healthy boundaries for ourselves. We've taken on too much from too many people and too many organizations without realizing the negative effect it could have on us. This is where it's necessary to start thinking of setting up some boundaries. A really good book that I read recently around boundaries is from Dr. Nedra Tawwab, and the book is entitled Boundaries, and I highly recommend it to start setting or continue setting some healthy boundaries for yourself. What do these boundaries look like? They may look like boundaries in terms of the time you dedicate to the various areas of your life. And it may be a matter of restructuring your schedule to allow some time for yourself, not just for traditional self-care activities, but just for the time to recuperate and rejuvenate yourself. It may be setting some boundaries in your relationship as well, and not allow everyone to take so much of your time and energy, and reserving some of that time and energy for yourself. It may be also setting boundaries both on the professional and the personal level with the individuals, the teams, and the organizations that take up a lot of our time, and restructure how we envision taking better care of ourselves. So I hope these 3 tips help whether or not you may be experiencing symptoms and signs of burnout. You may be doing well for now, but if you see someone experiencing these signs and symptoms of burnout, please recommend some of these tips and try to think of ways of helping them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.